President Trump is reportedly considering a wave of preemptive pardons. Does this concern you? All these preemptive pardons?
Well, it concerns me in terms of what kind of precedent it sets and how the rest of the world looks at us as a nation of laws and justice. You're not going to see in our administration that kind of approach to pardons, nor are you going to see in our administration the approach to making policy by tweets. It's just going to be a totally different way in which we approach the justice system.
The only reason I know to ask for a pardon is because you think you've committed a crime.
I only know of one reason to seek a pardon, because you're worried that you're guilty, that you committed a crime.
A few years later.
It's a Fox News alert. President Biden, this just came across, just issues new pardons for Dr. Anthony Fauci. You could call these preemptive pardons. Dr. Anthony Fauci, retired four-star General Mark Milley. This just happened moments ago. It also includes the members of Congress and staff who served on the Select Committee and the U.S. Capitol, and D.C. Metropolitan Police officers who testified before the Select Committee. This as Trump prepares to take the oath of office in just a few hours.
Would that include Liz Cheney?
So what a mess. No, it doesn't. I guess,
Committee?
Yeah, Select Committee.
The whole select.
But what does it say? Mark Milley, who is chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff under both Biden and Trump, you know that 100%. What he's done in the past, you know that he was calling China, trying to putting down President Trump.
I mean, what are they afraid that Pete Hegseth is going to see when he goes to the Defense Department and look at the files and data? There's been no talk of going after Anthony Fauci.
Well, Rand Paul is.
There may have been some senators, but the president himself has not said he wants to prosecute Anthony Fauci.
Absolutely right. And here's the thing. You pardon somebody who's been convicted.
Right.
They haven't been
There's
convicted.
A confession.
They haven't been charged. Right. This is crazy. It will be interesting to read the exact language, and because it just broke, we haven't seen it yet. But
boy. So we got to talk about Joe Biden. I meant Ho Biden, okay? Because Ho Biden, I think, is Joe Biden's official nickname that he has earned himself, considering this bombshell move that he just made on the way out the door, okay? Leaving as president. He is leaving as one of the worst presidents in American history, and I think that he solidified himself as one of the worst presidents in American history with the move to pre-pardon General Milley, Dr. Fauci, and the whole January 6th committee members, including Liz Cheney and others, on the way out the door. Okay, before Trump gets in office, Biden is handing out pre-pardons that essentially are an admission of guilt. Or at the very least, this is what Democrats were arguing when they were talking about Trump issuing pre-pardons for his kids and others, right? Which, again, Biden did go out of his way to pardon his son, Hunter, and now he is pardoning all of these other people, okay? According to Democrats, this is obstruction of justice.
So the president's pardon of Scooter Libby, Congressman, has inspired you to propose new legislation. What exactly would it do?
What it would do is say that in the event the president pardons anyone in an investigation in which the president is a witness, a subject, or the target, those investigative files will all be turned over to the Congress. The Congress ought to know whether the president is using the pardon power to obstruct justice. The American people have a right to know. I think it is clearly constitutional. It doesn't prohibit him from granting a pardon, even a pardon he shouldn't grant. But it does say that we will be able to at least find out whether the president is using this power to shield himself from liability.
It offers transparency at the very least.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Congressman. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Don.
A Fox News alert. The Department of Justice has released Special Counsel David Weiss's scathing report on Hunter Biden.
In it, Weiss defends his probe that found that the president's son made millions of dollars off his last name and political connections, then failed to pay his fair share of taxes.
Peter Doocy joins us live from the White House with the latest. Hey, Peter.
And a look at recent history, we remember that the heart of President Biden's pardon of his son was that he accused the special counsel, David Weiss, of singling Hunter Biden out. Now David Weiss is saying that the president was wrong to say that. A quote from last night's report: other presidents have pardoned family members, but In doing so, none have taken the occasion as an opportunity to malign the public servants at the Department of Justice based solely on false accusations. The biggest problem the special counsel Weiss has with Hunter is that he didn't pay $1.4 million in taxes over a 5-year stretch. Weiss says those are not inconsequential tax violations and that Mr. Biden made his money by using his last name and connections to secure lucrative business opportunities such as a board seat at a Ukrainian industrial conglomerate, Burisma Holdings Limited, and a joint venture with individuals associated with a Chinese energy conglomerate. He negotiated and executed contracts and agreements that paid him millions of dollars for limited work. The Hunter legal team is pushing back. Late last night, they told us Mr. Weiss conveniently omits his proposal to resolve this investigation in 2023 with a pair of misdemeanors and a diverted gun charge recommended by career prosecutors. Mr. Weiss also fails to explain why he reneged on his own agreement, a reversal that came at the 11th hour in court as he and his office faced blistering attacks from Republicans and his then filing unprecedented charges for someone with no aggravated gun factors who had paid his taxes in full years before the charges were filed. President Biden came here to the White House almost 4 years to the day, promising to restore faith in institutions. Now this special counsel is saying that President Biden's actions have undermined faith in institutions. Back to you.
Yeah, that whole we're the party of saving democracy. We're the party of law and order. We're the party of upholding the integrity and sovereignty of our institutions. Yeah. That all went out the window, right? I mean, we have seen Democrats have a full mask off moment in regards to what they actually really believe. No, they believe they are above the law, okay? And they should not be held accountable for their crimes, okay? They keep telling us that they're innocent, but yet now you have Biden handing out pre-pardons. Now, I believe that the individuals that he has decided to pardon, they have to accept the pardons. Anybody who accepts the pardon, they're going to be admitting that, yes, I am in fact guilty. But see what the mainstream liberal media is going to do, instead of trashing Joe Biden as they would be trashing President Trump if he did this, no, they're going to find a way to defend it, right? They're going to say, oh, well, the threat of Trump kind of justifies this, right? The threat of Trump justifies setting a new precedent where the president can have people commit crimes during his administration and then turn around and pre-pardon them before the next administration comes in. Is that really what we want to be doing here, right? Is that really the precedent that we want to be setting in a so-called democracy, okay? In a country that believes in law and order. But I mean, hey, there are some people who are willing to admit that this is a bad look, right? That it's probably not something Joe Biden should have did.
They've been offered. There are 4.5 hours left in President Biden's presidency. Claire, it'll be interesting to see if they take them.
It makes me sad. Yeah. It makes me sad. First of all, it sets a precedent. Can you imagine the list 4 years from now? Not good. And frankly, it shows that we have gotten to the point that we no longer trust the institutions of our courts to fairly administer the laws. Because I think the people who say I don't want a pardon are saying that because they know factually there is no evidence to do anything to them. So I get it, and I'm not being critical of the president for doing it, but it's sad. It is very, very sad, and it's another blow to the institution of rule of law in this country.
Claire, I have a question. Maybe you can answer it. I don't know. Maybe someone else here can answer it. Do these pardons offered this morning, do they time out with the demise of the Biden presidency?
No.
They don't?
No.
But again, these are things that Democrats, they never believed in, right? They don't believe in democracy. They hate democracy. They hate law and order, right? We saw that when they supported every far left violent protest over the last 8 years that benefited them. They don't care about law and order, okay? They love chaos and destruction as long as it benefits them, right? So once again, you're seeing Democrats show you that, we don't believe in any of the stuff that we say, right? All we believe in is power and control. And you are the one. You are the people, okay, that have to adhere to the law. You are the people that have to follow the rules, okay? You will be punished for it, but we won't, right? Because we're above all of you peasants, right? That is what the Democrats are showing. And liberal media, again, they're going to go out of their way to defend the indefensible.
MJ, tell us what's going on, what President Biden is doing on his way out the door.
breaking news from the White House, a statement from President Joe Biden issuing preemptive pardons for a number of individuals that he said he is fearful will be persecuted, politically persecuted. I just want to tick through for you the list of people that the president says he is pardoning preemptively today. They include General Mark Milley, Dr. Anthony Fauci. We also have members and staff of the committee that investigated the January 6th insurrection. He also said that that group would include the U.S. Capitol and D.C. Metropolitan Police officers who testified before this committee. Jake, this was a possibility that we had anticipated and that we reported was something that President Biden was considering. And in all of our reporting, we anticipated that if he were to take this action, it was very possible that it would happen at the very last minute. And here we are, just hours before President Biden is set to leave the White House. The president is announcing this very controversial decision. In this lengthy statement that he just released, he says, I believe in the rule of law, and I am optimistic that the strength of our legal institutions will ultimately prevail over politics. But he says these are exceptional circumstances, and I cannot in good conscience do nothing. Now, when he is...
That's wild. That's wild. I mean, to come out your mouth and say, I believe in the rule of law in our institutions, and then turn around and undermine the rule of law in the institutions is crazy to me, right? It's absolutely crazy, okay? Mark Milley possibly committed treason. That phone call to China around January 6th trying to undermine the president, yeah, that was treason. Straight up. Like, that's treason. He should be punished for that, right? He should be held accountable. When it comes to Liz Cheney, we all know about Liz Cheney. The GOP report recommended that she face criminal charges or investigation because of alleged witness tampering, in which she went out of her way to try to communicate with one of the January 6 witnesses through Alyssa Farah Griffin in order to concoct some crazy story about Trump on January 6th that absolutely nobody believed. Again, anybody who accepts these pardons, it's an admission of guilt, okay? And I think legally speaking, we need to see if the current president can revoke these pardons, right? That's what we need to see. We need to be testing those waters. Is it possible to revoke these pardons, to say, nah, you can't, right? You can't. This is an abuse of power. Now, again, if Trump did something like this, right, to this scale, okay, if he would have pardoned everybody involved in January 6th on the way out, which he didn't do, by the way, right? If he would have did that, these people would have passed laws to undermine the president's pardon power. That's what they would have done. We're going to see what the Democrats do now. Are they going to be so gun-ho to try to limit the president's power to issue these types of pardons? Maybe they will be. Who knows? Because, hey, now this has opened up the door for Trump to do something like this, right? When he leaves office. Again, this is scary stuff, man. This is scary stuff. But again, the media, they're not taking it as seriously as they should be because, again, they're trying to justify it.
Talking about exceptional circumstances, of course, he is referring to the incoming president, Donald Trump, who has made very clear in all of his public statements that he is focused on taking revenge on people, on individuals who he sees as having done him wrong. These specific people, and particularly if you think about the members who served on the January 6th committee, the staffers who served to work on that committee, these are people that the president obviously was worried would face a lot of legal troubles. Knew that there was just a lot of hardships coming their way, and this is why he is taking this action, to make sure that he can save them from all of that, even though he makes clear he does not believe that they did anything wrong, Jake.
All right, MJ Lee, thanks so much. Let's go to Jamie Gangel now for more on this. And Jamie Gangel, a lot of the members of the January 6th committee said that they didn't want preemptive pardons. They hadn't committed any crimes. They didn't think it was necessary. But there is always just the question of even a prosecution that isn't going anywhere is still going to cost potential defendants up to millions and millions of dollars to just to defend themselves.
Right. I think I was just texting with some people who would be covered by this. And as you know, Jake, there was a lot of discussion back and forth about this because members of the committee are covered by speech and debate technically. Witnesses, Capitol Hill Police, D.C. Police, members of the committee, everybody I spoke to who was involved with the January 6th committee hearings felt very strongly, they all said exactly the same words, we didn't do anything wrong, so we don't need a pardon. But, and this is the but, it's the extraordinary circumstances. It's the fact that President Biden felt that there would be this political retribution, political revenge that did not have any bearing in the facts, but that he was giving members, committee staffers, witnesses, sort of a blanket of protection to try to send a message more than anything else. These people should not, nobody should go after these people.
John King,
Wow. So Biden is the judge and the jury now, right? Is that what we're doing? Right? Biden's the judge and the jury. He's also the prosecutor because he's basically saying, well, we've investigated these people and we found they've done nothing wrong, right? We've done nothing wrong. So therefore you can't go after them. If you believe that they did nothing wrong and that the facts will bear that out, why issue the pardon? Why do it? It's because you believe they did something wrong. This is clearly an admission of guilt. 100% an admission of guilt. So again, it's hilarious, man, to watch these people jump through mental gymnastics to defend this. You can't defend this. But they are defending it because, again, this is our media, guys. Imagine the tone. Imagine the conversation. What would the conversation be like on CNN had Trump did this? We all know what they would be saying. We all know. This is how you turn the country into a banana republic. This is exactly what happens. This is exactly what you do. But see, now that Biden's doing, oh, well, you know, it's a special set of circumstances. Trump's so bad, he might go after them. He might cost them some money, some lawfare, right? As if they were concerned about that. They weren't concerned about that for the last 4 years when they were trying to drain Trump's bank accounts with lawfare, right? They weren't concerned about now because we're concerned about Trump trying to drain their financial resources. Despicable. It really is.
I ask you about these pardons early this morning from President Biden.
Well, the president and his team obviously think it is necessary. I think the result of it will be, it'd be a really interesting limousine ride and tea at the White House between President Biden, who decided this was necessary because of what he thinks about Donald Trump. So they're going to be sitting as close as we are, even closer. And this is to the very end, Biden versus Trump. Trump versus Biden. That has been the last 4 years of American life. It's been longer than that, actually, if you think about it. And so the president thinks this is necessary because of everything Donald Trump said during the campaign about retribution, about getting back at the people he thinks have been disloyal to him. Is it necessary? I'll leave that to smarter people than me. But what it does, it will continue the polarization and the fights, and it will put a burr in Donald Trump's saddle.
On this issue of the pardons, you know, this day is really interesting because you have all these customs that are going to be observed, these constitutional norms, in a day of norm busting, in an era of norm busting. So even as they ride to the Capitol, we now see these pardons. Right after the swearing in, President Trump is going to sign some executive orders, many of which will be tested in court because they challenge the constitutional separation of powers. So it's a day of customs and a day of customs busting.
Anyways, these people, if they were telling the truth, they would say that Joe Biden's legacy is now tarnished, right, permanently, right? I mean, he is the worst president in United States history at this point in my book. Okay, again, I know I'm not a historian, but damn it, I have observed this administration every single day for the last 4 years, and I can say without a doubt he is the worst president of my lifetime, and I can't imagine a president being worse than this. And this move right here, again, just solidifies it. he's done, right? He's cooked, right? Nobody will remember this man fondly in history. And again, it's just a damn shame. It really is. It's a damn shame. But, hey, this is how the Democrat Party rolls, right? They're showing the world that they are the party of corruption. They don't care about democracy. They don't care about law and order. They don't care about the sovereignty and integrity of our institutions. They are a party of chaos and destruction. This is who they are. So, I think Joe Biden, low-key, is giving us a gift on the way out, right? He's giving us a gift, once again, showing the hypocrisy of the Democrats and, again, permanently tarnishing his legacy. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.